Hi friends, so today I thought that I would bring you guys some of my favorite spiritual books. There are some that I no longer have in my possession because I've given them away, and there are some that I think I read online. So I'm going to give you what I have in my possession right now that are my favorite. These are just a few. I'm an avid reader, so I have a lot of books to recommend, but as far as my spiritual growth and the path that I'm on right now, these are the books that have kind of really made a huge impact for me. And hopefully, you might find some good use. There are a couple in here that I highly recommend. I think that even if you're not on a spiritual path or on a spiritual journey, there's a book in here that you should read. I think everybody should read it. It's changed my life, and it's I would say fiction, a parable. It's easy to read, and it captivates you. Anyways, let's just get started. The first book I wanted to talk to you about is called Intuitive Living by Alan Seal. It's a sacred path. And this book is like a workbook of your spiritual growth journey. It is written with intentions, with love. Alan Seal, thank you so much. Doubt you'll ever see this, but thank you so much for writing this book. It has changed my life. And it goes in and talks about how to react with love and light, how to use certain abilities, how to trust in yourself, how to find worthy in yourself and use our God-given abilities through perception, through intuition. It has a whole range of ideas and different thought processes to get through this that teaches you about the chakras, your energy centers. It teaches you about the mind. It teaches you about the soul. Just a lot of information that keeps you on track if you're ever kind of in a funk and you don't know what to do next. I highly suggest picking up this one because this one, maybe not what's next, but it can help you figure out who you are. This book is about you. So I would highly recommend this one for anybody who is searching. I've got a lot of underlines and highlights and just teaching you how to communicate better and how to stay on the path. This is a guidebook. It says it's a guidebook for your personal journey to self-discovery, co-creation, and intuitive development. So if those are anything that you're interested in, this is a really good one. What actually started me on my journey, and if you've watched my channel, you will already know that I watched a video about channeling, and I never even heard of channeling before. Not really up until this moment or that moment. And I was like, I have to do that. There's things inside of me that needs to come out. I've had downloads of information given to me. Don't know where they came from, why I have certain thought processes, why things enter my mind. My whole life, I never knew that I was supposed to be channeling. And anyways, I watched a movie opening to channel, or no, it was called Tuning In. The next book is opening to channel. Sorry about that. Anyways, opening to channel obviously is the next book I want to tell you about, and this talks about, this is by Sanaya Roman and Dwayne Packer, and they both channel their guides on top of other channelings that they do, but Oren and Deben are these amazing, masterful entities that Sanaya and Dwayne channel these entities, and by channeling, they've written this book on how to channel, how to bring out the best part of yourself, what it feels like, what to expect, what not to expect, how to have integrity when going about it. It talks about how everybody has this skill, and I want to say that some intuitive abilities, reading cards, channeling, being telepathic, telekinesis, all of these abilities that are flying around out there, we all have them, all of us. Just like we all have the ability to play the piano. Maybe if you don't have fingers, I apologize to you guys, but you use your nose or your toes or something. I don't know. You can still figure it out. We all have the ability to figure things out. And sometimes people are, very talented at a young age, 2 and 3 and 4 years old, playing concert concertos because it's inside of them. And then sometimes people can't play those, and they have to practice and practice and practice for years and years and years and years, and then they finally can play this concerto just as good as that little kid. And you wouldn't be able to tell a difference between practicing and the talent, but just because you have to practice doesn't mean it's not inside of you. So if you want to learn your abilities, you have it inside of you. Maybe you just need to practice more than others, or maybe it's in a different way than others. And this book explains that. This book explains that your way of channeling is going to be different than any other person out there channeling an entity. You're not going to do it the same. You may do it similar. You may have a completely different way. You may channel through art, or channel through music, or channel in a completely different way, but it teaches you how to tap into the channeling process. And the next few books are probably going to be about channeling or channeled writing, because that's what I'm into. So Spiritual Growth is another one by Sanaya Roman and Duane Packer. They are, just Sanaya Roman wrote this one. It's an Orin book. So she channels Orin, and this is another one that's similar to the Intuitive Living. It's like a workbook. Orin, the entity that she channels, he is so gentle and so loving and so kind that when you read his words, it's almost as a melody tumbling across your body and your mind, and you get to take it in such a gentle way. So you can understand how to bring out your higher self, how to bring out the best part of you and live the best part of you. We all have a best side, every single one of us. And whether it's more love, more happiness, or whatever you personally feel makes you a better person, we all have it already inside of us. I can be nicer today. I can be kinder. I can be more loving. I can be happier. I can, be more free. I can, whatever the case is that makes me want to be better and how I perceive myself to be better, it's already there. It's already inside of me, and I can bring that out. And that's what this book teaches you, is how to grow your spirituality and bring it out and live that best life and be your higher self as you live through your heart. So this is a really, really, really good one too. Another channeled writing that I have, and it's going to be probably my favorite, if not definitely in the top 2 or 3. This book has changed my life, is Conversations with God. There is not a lot, or there's not enough I can say about this book. It starts out with a man who's had, life has thrown him through the shithole, excuse my language. Life has definitely taken this guy for a turn, and he's basically homeless, and he's like, why God, why? And, all of a sudden, God says, well, let me tell you why. And it's so spot on. It's everything that you think God would say. And, well, maybe. To me it was. To me it was everything. When you have questions, when you want to know why this or why not that, or why doesn't God stop this, or why does he let these things happen, all of the questions, why is the sky blue? Who knows? Every single thing that you can think of to ask, God answers. You know, there's three Conversations with God book that are just conversations with God. And then there's like Home with God and all these different books that he's written. But in the first three, I know he talks about aliens and other entities. He talks about the Armageddon. He talks about all of why he doesn't show himself, you know, to certain people, or how he does show himself to certain people. Anything, ask anything. These questions, not only are they answered in such a beautiful and loving way, it just feels like when you're reading this, it feels like you're being hugged by God. It's like this warm, beautiful hug, or this blanket of God that just surrounds you and teaches you with support and with care and with beauty. And thank you, Neil Donald Walsh, for writing this book. Thank you, God, for channeling through somebody. This could very well be my Bible. Very well. This one too has lots of underlines and things like that. I've read this probably 3 or 4 times, and I'm absolutely in love with it. I think that if out of all of these, definitely pick this one or the next one. And as far as the next one goes, it is The Journey Home. This is like a parable, so it's not necessarily, or a story, so it's fiction, didn't happen, but the lessons and the love and the beauty that this book teaches goes above and beyond anything you can imagine. I'm not even joking. If you can read anything, please read this book. Please, 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 please. Okay, so Cryon was in the movie about channeling, and a man named Lee Carroll is the, Cryon calls him his partner. He channels through, but he is the person that channels the entity Cryon, Lee Carroll. And Lee Carroll, and I guess he channeled this story through Cryon. And it is about a man who has been put through the ringer, and he is done with it all, and he gets to meet an angelic being who gives him the option of what he wants most in the world. And Michael, which is the man in the book who's been put through the ringer, decides he's ready to go home. He's done with this place and he's ready to go home. So the entity says, all right, Mr. Michael Thomas, how about you go on a journey so you can go home? And he gives him this journey to go on and to meet certain entities and beings and go through certain lessons and why life is the way it is. And Michael Thomas goes on this journey, and the things that have happened in Michael Thomas's life are given to him in a way that he can understand, and he can see things. He gets to meet a whole bunch of angels, and they get to show him different meanings of life and what could have happened and why certain things happen and the real reasons through everything, the beauty behind it. Please, please, please read this book. Please, please, please read this book. And if you have, comment down below. Tell people why you think they should read this book too, because I promise you, if people know about it, then they'll read it. I promise you will. And if you read this book and you don't like it, tell me why. Tell me why you didn't like it. Because I want to know if there's somebody out there that will actually not like this book, because I really don't think there is, but there might be. So if you want a book that can potentially change your life or anybody's life around you, I've actually read this out loud to my family. They're not as big on spiritual growth with me right now, but I have read this book out loud to my family, and they absolutely love it so much. We'll do it on trips and stuff, but it's an easy read. It's probably like 230 pages, not bad. Cryon, you make me happy. Thanks for writing this. Also, look, I started with all the Cryon books. Cryon book number 1, book number 2, book number 3, all of those I read. I've given them away since then. Cryon is a big, huge part of my awakening process. Cryon is nothing but pure love. And it has showed me to view life through the lenses of love. You know, when somebody's going through whatever they're going through, I look at them with love, not with pity, not with shame, not with annoyance because they cut me off or they got in my way or whatever the case is. You know, if they're going through something horrible, there's a good reason for it. And Cryon has showed me that. There's another book it's called The 12 Layers of DNA, also by Kryon. These are his channelings that he and then they kind of put it together, and then Lee Carroll writes some stuff around them. But this talks about the Human Genome Project and what happened to our DNA, and there's a lot of science in this book that has come to pass since it has been written. It goes kind of, it's more of a science-y book, explaining how we are in the puzzle that we're in. And our DNA is a puzzle. And we used to think that we got everything from genes, like thousands and thousands. Now, like 200,000 genes from our parents and our ancestors. And now they're finding that that's not true, that our DNA gets created in certain ways. And there's a lot of science that is predicted for future that has come to pass, probably more that hasn't yet. Highly, highly recommend this book by Cryon. I recommend any book by Cryon. I don't actually know for sure. I say that, but I haven't read all of them because I think there's like 14 of them. However, I've read quite a bit. There's parables, there's all kinds of stuff, and I recommend reading anything from Cryon. There's one that really changed my life, that he wrote about having this room that we think is our life, but in all actuality, we have this huge house that we never even know we can enter. We are always concerned about this room that we live in and what's kind of right around us. And he talks about in this room, there's rooms and the names of your unborn children, the room of riches, and the room of this and the room of that, all in this house that we don't even go and explore, that we have access to, because we only know our one reality is this one room. Anyways, by going through this house, there's a room of God, and I don't remember which book it was, but I got to go into this room of God in my house and walk up these beautiful steps and meet God face to face. And Cryon taught me to do that. And once I was able to do that, it has definitely changed my life. So anything by Cryon, please read. Another one I wanted to talk to you guys about, channeling. And again, lots of books, the Vortex, lots, The Law of Attraction, The Amazing Power of Deliberate Intent, Ask and It Is Given, all channeled through Esther and Jerry Hicks. Jerry is no longer with us. Esther is still here, and she channels an entity called Abraham, which is a lot of consciousness rolled into one. And this talks about manifestation, how to live your best life, how to keep your thoughts where they need to be, how to recondition your brain, and think of other things other than lack and wanting, because the universe does provide. If you want something and you constantly say, I want this, I want a new car, 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 well, guess what? The universe is going to give you exactly what you asked, wanting. And you'll be in a state of wanting. Oh, I want? Well, there you go. You are want. So let me give you what you are, want. Because that's what you're saying you are. Be careful when you say, I'm sorry, because you're not sorry. Say, I apologize. I'm happy. That's why those I am statements are very, very accurate and very, very true. So this book teaches you how to keep your brain conditioned, and how to, in such a loving and beautiful way, of course, through spiritual means, but how to manifest the relationships with other people, with yourself, how to desire what's really in your heart and bring that forward. I love Esther. I love Abraham. This is definitely one everybody should read. Obviously, I've read it a time or two. So pick this one up. This one will really, really, really expand your spiritual growth. I also have another one. It might be a little hard to read. This is called Bringers of the Dawn. I have another one too by Barbara Marciniak that I've read. I don't really exactly remember what it's called. Something about the earth, I want to say. And both books are major, major important. She channels entities called the Pleiadians from the Seven Sisters in a different solar system, I believe. I don't actually know where the Pleiades are, if they're in our solar system or galaxy, or if it's a completely different one. I guess it's probably something I should figure out. But I'm kind of certain that we can see the Pleiades. Yeah, we can see the Pleiades with our naked eye and outer space. They also call them the Seven Sisters. Anyways, the Pleiadians are beings that are here to help us bring the world in this new shift in a more lighter and a more higher vibratory rate. And the information coming, this was the first time, and it might not be the exact first time, but this book was written 1992. So that would make it almost 30 years old. It talks about the event, the light, the shift. It talks about what's going to happen, which is happening and has already happened since it was written 30 years ago. But all of this new stuff that she saw 30 years ago that's happening now is in this book. And even more so, she goes into very specific detail about certain things, or the Pleiadians go into very specific detail about certain things. There are clips of this book on YouTube. That way you can hear, there are people that speak it and channel parts of this book. And that's actually what turned me on to this book, is it was a channeling from the Pleiadians, but it ended up being about an hour, maybe not even that. It was probably about 30 or 45 minutes worth of channeled readings from this book. And it was, I guess, exactly what Spirit wanted me to read. It was just, they were just throwing stuff in my lap. And this one I highly recommend. 30 years ago, she was talking about the media and its lies and how it's going to change things and how it's going to make you perceive things that aren't there, or change your perspective so that you focus on certain aspects of life that have no reason that should be pertaining to you. We think that we have to be very involved with certain things that the media portrays. But in actuality, I promise you, if you were to turn your eye away from it and live your life in a different way, happiness, and not turn on the TV and listen to what they have to say about certain things, it's not going to change who you are. It's not going to define you. It doesn't get to say you're smarter, you're not smarter, you're this, you're that. It doesn't get to do that. You know, if you're defining yourself by something outside of you, then that's probably where the problem lies. But it talks about all of this. It talks about the Pleiadians and their storytelling abilities, and why Earth was brought here in the first place. They talk about it being a living library. We're a living library for many, many things, and why it is the way it is, and what's going on. And it is a perspective, an energetic perspective, channeled through Miss Barbara Marciniak through the Pleiadians, and I highly recommend it. And I highly recommend Powers of the Earth, or I don't really remember what her other book is. I wish I could. Let's see if it's even in here. I think this was her first one, so I don't know if the other ones would be in here. Regardless, try this one out. This one can change you. I have a couple more, like autobiography of a yogi. Lord Almighty, I don't know where that book is. I either gave it away or I've got it around here somewhere. I read that one a lot too. That one's one of my favorites. That's a very, very wonderful spiritual teaching full of love. It has stuff in it where these yogis from India that can levitate, that can be meditating and send an astral projection of themselves and actually have conversations with people as they're meditating. It's just a cool story. So check that one out. I have a couple of honorary mentions and just things reference-wise. This big old guy is Metaphysical Anatomy. This talks about what is your body trying to say to you. So let's just say oxygen problems. Well, I guess it's telling me to go somewhere else. Okay, here's ovary problems or cancer in the ovaries. It'll give you like emotional things, like you have been suppressing sexual anger. You do not feel worthy of having your own sexual needs met, and you often feel obligated to put the needs of others ahead of your own. You may feel invaded by men whose needs are selfish, making you feel unable to receive the love and intimacy that you desire. There's a whole bunch of what you may be feeling. You're grieving missed opportunities to be a mother, not feeling good enough in the eyes of influential male figures. Your creativity has been suppressed by a certain role that gives you no joy. All kinds of different reactions to what may be causing ovary problems or ovarian cancer, on top of headaches, migraines, bloody noses, crackling joints, your immune system, hypertension, hip replacements, frostbite, diarrhea, every single thing from a bruise to cancer to hypoxia to miscarriages, lisping, infertility, every single thing is in this. This is just volume 1. I think she's made a second volume, Yvette Rose, but these make a lot of sense, and I get a lot of clients that know that I have this. Can you send me a picture of the page on such and such, or things like that, which I always do, but I'm telling you, get this book. This one's major. Another honorable mention is The Alchemist. This one is also a fiction, and one about a young boy who goes on a journey and meets these very interesting, awesome, amazing people, because he's going in search of this quest, or on this quest of this treasure. He wants to find this treasure. We don't know what the treasure is or how to get to it, but he meets these people on his path that help him through certain obstacles, and it's been one of those books that have been around and a long time, and one of those life-changing books that it's a quick read. You don't want to put it down. You want to offer it up to everybody and then read it again. So that one, and then another one, I'm actually not finished with this, that's why it's in my honorable mentions, is the first one she wrote is Light is the New Black. This is by Rebecca Campbell. She wrote Light is the New Black. I love it. It's one of the, it's like a, again, it's what's the word, a guidebook, or, you know, something that can help you through your spiritual times. This is rising up from feeling lowered, if you will. And then once you're done reading it, which is good, you can open it up at any time on any day to get information that just that just gets you where you need to be. Like, I just opened it up straight to this page. It's called The Mystic Always Rises. As she let her soul sing, she let go of lifetimes of silence, truth missiles cemented in the deepest caverns of her soul, a voice snubbed out for centuries for saying too much, for standing up too much, for being too much. Her Shakti and wisdom restrained for centuries, but not anymore. She could not be locked away. She could not be muted, restrained, or contained any longer, not now and not ever again. As she let her spirit move her, she danced right through the flames. Resentment, anger, and remembering stomped out with every blazing convulsion, sway, and kick. The movement created space for their tears, which flowed deeper than all the lakes that they were submerged in through all of the ages. Soothing and healing the burning that once enveloped her bodies, all their bodies, all of our bodies, never forgetting but still rising, just as she planned to do. Just as we planned so. Sensing her in the distance, one by one her sisters joined in, knowing this dance by heart, standing taller from all of those who came before and those who are to come again, who have lived the story of her fall, now return to watch her rise. Rise, sister, rise. So yeah, there's a lot of these little poetic things in here. There's meditations and mantras and chants and all of these. A million books I've read. I'll try to come up with more if I can. These really spoke to my heart. There are some I've read half that are awesome that I just never got through, and I didn't put those in here just because I never finished them. But I love these, and I hope you get a piece of something amazing from them. If you have books that aren't on here that maybe you would like for me to know, I would love to read more books, and I would love to review books or the books that you suggest. Or if you're wanting to read a book and you're not sure about it, put it down below. Maybe I've already read it and I can tell you about it, or somebody else could have read it and can tell you about it, or we can all read it together. Book club, I don't know. That would be a dream. Anyways, okay, so some of my favorite spiritual books. I'm so glad that you made it through to the end of the video. I appreciate it.